feel like awkward.
Okay, so a lot of you guys have been asking, what is the condition of Bronc Buster and the roof? So we're gonna just walk through it. This panel is pretty much destroyed now. I can't even attach no more. Door destroyed, door destroyed. The A-pillar and all the way across the top crushed in, so the glass is crushed down. So I've actually got this piece all coming to replace all of that. Mirror, it ripped off. Hood, it didn't do a whole lot to. Now let's talk about the top. So the top actually fared very well, other than right here is the biggest part of the damage where it hit a rock pretty hard. But if you look at the structural stability of it, it protected all of this that I had just replaced and kept it from getting damaged again. The rear hatch, since it's a prototype, I didn't have a latch on it yet, so it was kind of flopping around. This was flopping around too because, you know, it probably got hit, or maybe I didn't have it latched all the way. But other than that, there's very little other damage. This other side as well, actually this side right here, a few scrapes and scuffs, but everything still functions, shuts. And we've got one big dent here, and it kind of ripped this up a little bit. So inside, you'll see where my head was bouncing around in there and not getting hurt. So that headliner turned out perfect, saved me from a lot of damage. The you know, you can see light because it did pull some places up, but we also didn't have weather stripping on it yet. This was just the prototype while we worked those things out. So was it perfect? No, but it saved the Bronco from more damage. And more importantly, I feel like it saved me from a lot of physical harm. So big win, and stay tuned because Bronc Buster is going to be coming back better than ever with the build that we're going to be reintroducing on Bronc Buster.
All right, Tyler, the only thing I think that we need to do is change this R into a D.
Bronc Busted.
It's been busted.
It's busted today, but it's not going to be busted for long. So
Build back better.
Build back better. That's right. Oh, that's Biden. I ain't saying that. Hell no. Well, hey guys, good to see you tonight. And Robert, I guess before we get into everything else, you must have known what was coming up there that Amy put that in there, right?
It is busted.
Right now it's busted, but it's going to be better. Anyways, before we bring in our guest tonight, we wanted to just bring up a reminder of a few things coming up. We just got back from Bronco Safari. Now we're getting ready for
Holly Beach.
Holly Beach.
Holly Beach Bronco Bash, June 3rd and 4th.
Right.
Which is the first weekend of June. And it's right across the Texas. It's in Louisiana, just right across the Texas line. So not far for any of our friends in the South, for darn sure.
Definitely worth coming out to. It's a good cause. They're supporting Wheeling for a Cause, is our charity that we support and we run. So everything that's being raised for that is going to support Wheeling for a Cause.
Yep.
Now, soon after that, we're going to open up registration for Wheeling for a Cause.
We're still shooting for that second weekend in June, as long as I get my act together with the website and all the things we have to coordinate with Mason. Make sure all the pricing is set up correctly, because I know a lot of you are looking for housing this time around. So, and then also for any of you who are thinking of being a corporate sponsor or a personal sponsor, or you know someone that is, I'm still throwing it out there. There's going to be a definitely sweet enhanced deal for those folks who come in early, because if you've ever run a nonprofit or you ever done nonprofit things, there's a lot of expenses that go into just getting the event to the actual day. And so if we can defray those with sponsors that come in and give us sponsorship money up front early, it really makes a big difference and allows us to really multiply those dollars on the back end and make the investments in our veterans, our mobility challenge veterans as well. So keep that in mind. We'll make it as sweet as possible for all of you who dedicate early.
So just one last reminder. So put on your calendar for October, because that's coming up real quick too. So October 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th in Mason, Texas, same location. We're going to have a great time. We've got some special events planned. So all of this is leading up to that event. And so put that on your calendars for sure.
And we're going to look to issue an itinerary. I'm going to tell you right now, some things are free flowing. This is a hard guy to pin down on some things. But yeah, so I'm going to try and get an itinerary out the same time the website comes out. But we are going to be doing some special things on Thursday and Friday that some of you might be interested in. So start talking to your employer, start talking to the wife or the husband or whatever about maybe getting off a couple of days of work and coming out, because I think it's going to be really super exciting Thursday and Friday. That's why we added that extra day, is there's just some exciting stuff we wanted to do in addition to what just the whole wheeling thing that we're going to do for sure on Friday afternoon and Saturday majority. So
I promise you one thing, it'll be worth it. You're going to find this to be one of the best, not only the best cause that you can go out for in the Bronco community, but the best time. So, and good food. I promise you good food too.
And we already talked to the weather gods. It's going to be even better than it was in January. So, what's the reason not to come?
Right. Well, with that, I know everybody wants to jump right into, we got two big subjects tonight. First one is we're going to talk about the hardtop, my Bronc Buster tested and approved. So we got some guests to introduce, but shortly after that, we're going to also get to all the updates that you guys have been wanting to know on portal axles. So stay tuned. Don't want to miss everything in our discussion tonight.
Yep.
With that, go ahead and let's bring in our guests. Justin.
There they are.
Hey. So you guys might recognize these guys from Armadillo Designs and Texas Fabco. Guys, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick for anybody that maybe doesn't know you.
I'm Sam.
Why don't you go
for top corner?
The brains.
I'm John Perella. You guys have seen me on previous episodes.
The not beauty.
And then I'm Fabian.
He's the beauty. So
Yes.
Just kidding, you guys. Sorry. Anyways, no, we're happy to have these guys on. We learned some stuff this last go around, as you guys might know with our latest video, that we didn't plan on or intend, right? I know we've had people say, "Oh, you planned that, you did it on purpose."
No, he just does stupid stuff all just willy-nilly.
That's why the sticker says, "Don't follow him."
And we're close too.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because John said,
I specifically said, don't do it.
Well, he said that too, but that's the reason why I did it. I'm going to say that up front. Number two, the night before, so that Friday night after the vendor night, John's like, okay, well, let's start taking the top off and put your soft top back on. And I said, nuh-uh. This is staying on here. I'm not doing that again. So anyways.
Well, Tyler, we bought you a present. We got you,
oh, geez.
Because of what you did, we got you 5-point harness. I'm trying to get in the camera. 5-point harnesses now, so that you can actually make it so that you.
That is
all right.
So,
I will incorporate that in the Bronco.
So you got. I don't know how to incorporate that into the seats you've got, but we bought you a pair of 5-point harnesses for.
I'm going to pull the seat out of it, and we're going to put we're gonna put my own kind of seat in there. It's gonna be.
Yeah, maybe we'll make you a seat or something like that.
Hey, John, did you buy me a pair of running shoes so I could get the heck out of the way faster?
Oh, geez.
Man, that's how you know for sure he didn't plan it, because you were walking right up into the path of destruction when that started to roll.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, maybe.
And then he just
Maybe you need to buy me a set of diapers next time.
yeah, there you go.
okay.
Even if we need to design a custom seat or something like that for you, we can make it.
Well, and
Yeah, you need Recaro seats. I agree with Walter. Get some Recaro seats, and then we'll put those 5-point harnesses in, so that way if you roll, because you have a tendency to keep rolling.
Yes, he does.
Well, sitting here and watching this at least 100 times, I spent probably 40 hours putting all of this together over the weekend. And after watching this over and over and over again, I got the biggest kick out of watching Doug not only running out of the way, but when I put the roll in reverse and him jumping backwards up the hill, I had fun with that too. So,
yeah.
No,
what I love is your explanation of how you survived the roll, which is that you just basically bear hugged the steering wheel and held on for dear life.
Well, not here yet.
Well, the reason I'm down is because his rear diff's on a rock, and so I'm trying to get him over the top outside of that rock.
And he kept saying that.
Yeah,
you're hung up on your.
But he only had two-wheel drive.
But I'm in two-wheel drive.
And the only reason why I'm up where I'm at is because I know not to be underneath him.
Hey.
So this is situational awareness now. Because I'm starting to not like what I'm seeing.
This is some OSHA training 101 right here video. And, right about the time, I mean, I could hear him saying, you're hung up on your diff.
Now watch his finger point down to turn downhill.
So he said, point down, go downhill. So I started turning.
And that's when I'm like, oh, hell no.
and it started going. He's, of course, pointing, go this way, but it was too late. I mean, we can only do so much. Bam, we're down at the bottom.
And by the way, your trunk was full of tools. So
well,
you did a complete yard sale as you rolled.
I had about 500 pounds of tools back there, which wasn't helping me.
He has a little mechanic shop going on back there.
Well, you'll see if you watch the video, you'll saw that I was able to drill out, tap, grind. I had my impact. So yeah, I like being prepared on the trail. Usually I'm having to I fix myself a lot too. But anyways, but everybody's probably heard enough about the roll. I want to talk about the results, and then I want to hear from Sam some of the updates on the design, because I guess first, before I turn the time over to them, I want to just is an important thing to state is this was a prototype. This was not a finished product. This had no weather stripping. This had no latches on the rear door. The rear door still has a few things that we have to finish up, and that's part of what Sam's going to show us on updates. So it was a fitment and be able to see how it looks. And we got to learn one more thing out of it, and that was how strong it was, because I don't have a bit of damage to the roll cage or other parts of the vehicle, and I guarantee you that hard of a hit I would have. So
the airbags didn't deploy because of his previous accident already deployed.
I'm not putting airbags back in it.
Yeah.
I didn't get hurt this time because no airbags. Last time I was all bruised up from the airbags. So no, I'm just kidding.
Oh man, that would have been painful with you bear hugging the steering wheel and the airbag deploying.
Right. Well, actually, the airbag in the steering wheel is still there, but my clock spring is broken, so I don't have to worry about that one. So.
No, we definitely appreciate it, and it definitely was a prototype. This was really just to make sure that all the bolt holes lined up, to test the installation process, to make sure that, where we had two panels meeting up, there was no obstacles to actually get your fingers in there to do install. And we definitely learned a lot from this trip, which was the goal. These weren't ready production. We just opened up pre-sales, and we're a lot closer now because of this trip, and seeing kind of how it fared with your roll helped us to identify kind of what moves and what doesn't when you have stress on the vehicle. But Sam, why don't you want to share your screen and show them some of the changes, or?
Sure. I think from the event, we're always looking in engineering for accelerated tests. So that was a pretty quick accelerated test we got to witness.
But usually what they do is they put a dummy in there, and
we did too.
We had a dummy in there.
So this is sort of what I get to look at it on a daily basis. This is the slant back model in 3 dimensions. And what's nice about this is we're mainly focused on the slant back right now because 90% of the components are the exact same for the square back. So once we dial in the slant back, it's a really fast transition over to the square back for those of you interested in that. But right off the bat, you can see a big new change is the 3-panel rooftop, which allows for more better storage in the back of your vehicle. Basically, you have 2 seams underneath that'll connect the panels together, and yeah, better storage there.
So we narrowed the panels. We narrowed the width of the panels so they actually fit in the trunk now, and we made 3 panels so that you can actually put them into the trunk. So that way, if you're out doing something and want to take them off, you can fit them in your trunk for storage rather than having to take them off and set them aside, which the 2 big panels would have been what you had to do before. So it was a lot of feedback from customers.
The only suggestion I have after seeing this and after kind of being the one to have my head bouncing around on it, I think that lip in there, we probably ought to add something soft on that so that
there's going to be a cap on the inside. This is just showing you kind of the rough right now, but we have plans to have something over that seam. And the foam that was in your vehicle was 1/4 inch versus the new foam we're actually going to be using for production is 1/2 inch. So it'll fill that quite a bit as well and give you more padding.
Yeah, we'll dull that knife edge for you.
And have we worked out any, so some of the suggestions that I've had and you guys have had is some quick releases maybe to be able to remove them quickly, or is that still in process?
Yeah, so I don't have those in the model currently. That's sort of on my next to-do list for tomorrow, actually. But so there's quick compression latches going between the panels, and then compression latches pulling each panel downwards into the main frame, so you won't get the sort of loosening that you experienced on the trails.
Yep.
Yeah, we've sorted out a number of the weather stripping as far as how we're going to get everything to seal. We've made them, like I said, narrower and made them into smaller panels to make them easier to handle. And then instead of using the brackets with the wing nuts, we're going to like a compression latch, so it'll clip and then latch instead of screwing on. So it'll be a permanent attached.
So Eric has a very good question. Is there going to be an option with no panels? So if somebody says, I don't ever care about being topless, is there a different option, or is it just going to be basically the same option, but it gets latched permanently?
So no. So you're talking just a solid roof without the top coming off?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Right now, that's not in the plans. That's not to say we couldn't do it. We could make that 1 panel instead of 3 separate panels and make it bolt on permanently. But the reason we still do that kind of shape on the top is it increases the headroom inside. So it actually gives you, compared to the standard top, it actually gives you a significant amount of room between your head and the roof because it bulges up right where you sit. So I don't know, like we could get rid of the 3 panels and make it 1 solid panel, but I don't know that we would come out with something that was flat across the top, just because the whole purpose of the design we came up with is it's very easy for us to flat pack ship it. So all the front bar, the 2 side bars, and those 3 panels come off, and the biggest component is that slant back, and that all fits on a pallet perfectly instead of having this monstrous item to have to ship. So
yeah, that's a question we've gotten a few times. So we'll definitely have sort of a storm chaser model that's ready for the hard elements. That's less of the feature functions that this one has.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. So we've made a bunch of changes to hinges. We've made a bunch of changes with the body fill on the bottom, with the lips around where the openings are for the gull wings and the rear hatches. So we're playing with all the fitment issues that we recognized in the list that we made while we were out there to make it so it form fits to the body better, it seals better. One of the last challenges we've got is how to integrate the trunk. As you can see, there's kind of a gap there. That's the status yours was in when we went to the event. And that's the last of the issues that we have to overcome is how do you integrate that back hatch so that it seals and is watertight, because the trunk itself has a curved lip versus that current hatch is straight and stiff. So just working through the last of the issues, but overall the fit and finish will be a lot better. Yours was just rhino lined. It was just to get a coating on yours before the event. And Fabian Blanco's was a raw aluminum. The raw aluminum seems to be very popular from a standpoint of people like that look.
I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved
it was a really good.
So we are going to offer it raw, and we actually have some distributors that we're working with that are interested in giving you the ability. And the reason we came up with the concept of raw is that you could custom color match it. So you can take it to your own powder coater if you want and have them custom paint or color match the top to match your car, or whatever color scheme you want to run with. What is the purpose of the bulge in the rear panel versus it being flat? So a couple different reasons. One is to create a little bit more space. Two is that rear panel has a lip system on the inside so that if water gets behind the panel, it runs off to the sides and doesn't go into your vehicle. So you have to have some 3-dimension to it. And we thought it kind of fit more with an aggressive. The flat panel itself is very flexible versus having a 3-dimensional with bends in it creates rigidity as well. So there's a lot of reasons why we did that 3-dimensional panel.
What kind of carries in the look too of the side panels and all those bends, like you said, adds rigidity. And we found, I mean, you saw how hard we came down on that thing and how violent that was and how it held up. I think that door is very similar. If it was flat, like you said, it would flex a lot more, and that adds a ton of rigidity. So,
yeah, the next round. So, Sam, what do you think is a realistic? I'm trying to make sure I'm on camera. What do you think is a realistic time frame for you to have most of the engineering done so that we actually have the next version prototype?
So most of this week and last week I've been pounding through the design changes, and so my goal is by next week we're gonna have material being up and bent for the next fitment test and prototype. So next few weeks we'll be rocking ready and have Bronc Buster with a new set of parts to work with.
You better not.
I'm actually turning Bronc Buster into a mall crawler now. It's going to get custom painted on top. I'm going to do it's going to be wrapped. It's going to be beautiful. So
the neat thing about everything that we've done is because it's such a modular system, you really can customize it. And even the headliner and the glass, like we don't have to install those pre-shipping. We can provide those to you so that you can install them if you want to get all that custom color matching and everything else. So the nice thing is we can provide you with a completely raw one. And, this is a permanent install solution. It's not something where you're going to take the whole top off, because we made it so that the rails and the frame that reside are where the roll cage stays. So it really was designed to make it so that if you want to go topless, you take the 3 hatches off the rear, you take the 3 panels off the top, and there's so much open air there that it's the equivalent of not having a top on. We are working on a Bimini top, like a screen that can go in there so you can run more airflow, but not necessarily be beating in the sun. So we have a lot of really cool additional accessories coming for the top that we've been working on behind the scenes. We have what you can't see in here is it actually has a third brake light. Stay in your lane. Has a third brake light built into it in the back. So now if you want to do tire relocation, you don't have to, worry about that brake light that's on the tire. We relocated it up higher. It has, gull wings built in by default. So it gives you better access to your trunk, and they do lock and they are weather tight. Gull wings is something I've been doing with Velox Off-Road for a very long time. So we know that market very well. But we went 3-dimensional on these, unlike the ones we've made historically, because we wanted to be able to give you a better seal by having that inner lip and more rigidity and everything. So all 3 of these panels, you can also mount Molly panels on to mount more gear as well. So if you want to put like a Rotopack or your Max Tracks or something like that, you can actually mount it on the gull wing as another location that's something new.
In my personal opinion, I think that it makes it look super tough. I like how the back door and those panels raise out in the top. It kind of gives it that turret look, that tank going down there. I like the toughness.
It's
look.
got a cool overlanding look. I mean,
Yeah.
I always admired the Tundra kind of had that look back in the day, and in the Land Cruiser, and this really gives the Bronco a really nice overlanding, taking on the wilderness look.
So, okay, yeah, armadillos. So, to answer that, we talked about it a little bit last week. It's very similar, about 25 pounds difference. So,
yeah, but it's definitely much more modular than any of the other tops that are out there. None of the other tops have gull wings. None of the other tops have removable hatches. So it really does. It will. The gasketing and sealing that we're working on is definitely a plus. All the tubular frames on the inside, everything on the inside is going to be cleaned up from even the version you had. That was something that, again, we hadn't focused on the interior yet. We were focused on the exterior and getting everything to seal. And now we're working, but that does those interior tubes give you internal cable routing and all kinds of really cool stuff you can do that you don't have on any other top or even in any other vehicle right now. So any lights you want to mount on your rooftop or ceiling, light bars, that kind of stuff, all that cable routing can be hidden.
Yeah,
absolutely. And we do have
the key is the versatility and the modularity of this for sure.
Yeah, and we partnered with Racket Roof Rack because we actually manufacture the Racket Roof Racks, and Sam actually was the one that designed the new version of the Racket Roof Rack. And so we made one that specifically works with our hardtops that doesn't take up that front accessory panel, so that you can still use those front accessory mounts, and all the weight goes on the top, which it's designed to have the tubular frame underneath it to support the weight of the rack and anything you want to put on it. So this hardtop will hold a significant amount more weight than any of the other tops that are out there in comparison. And again, yeah, there you go. There's a rendering of the rack. So the Racket Roof Rack design we did slides out still just like his does now. But this one, so you can take the tops off easily. But this one bolts specifically to our top instead of to the traditional locations that Racket, where you'd have the cage that would block the gull wings. So we had to redesign it to accommodate the gull wings. But this combination, gives you complete versatility to carry whatever you want, or still run topless. It's got the basket or the flat version. It's the same basket structure as the Racket Roof Rack. So we've taken a lot of time to really think through the design, come up with a bunch of accessories right out of the gate, and come up with a top that doesn't look factory and makes it look mean and aggressive. And I think you're going to see a lot of our tops at SEMA because everybody wants to make their vehicles look different. My personal favorite's the slant back, but
So Jessica, I will say yes. I'm amazed every day that I get together with these guys and Austin and the technology we have, and then the ability for minds such as Sam's and John's and these guys that we can put this stuff to reality so quickly. I will say I'm amazed daily, and part of what I love doing what I do. Taking ideas to concept is so cool. So.
I wait to have that design on my vehicle one day.
I'm doing the Rubicon with it this summer, so I'm going to go do an overlanding with the tent on top, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So Rubicon, here we come.
Yeah, and Jessica, I agree with you. The biggest thing we wanted to show was, from the second we came up with the idea to making sure that we were taking feedback and adapting quickly. With the design to make sure, listen, you're never going to make everybody happy, but the reality is being able to incorporate everybody's concepts into the design. And look, we're not perfect. This is not as you can tell, there's a lot of, Sam is the king of compound angles and these designs. This is not an easy design. And Sam, along with the Armadillo rack, or the Racket Roof Racks that he helped re-engineer, he's done an amazing job. Fabian's done a killer job of helping to put it all together and source all the parts and find solutions to problems. You know, the team in general has really come together, and having Bronc Buster to really help us to make sure it's tested, because look, make or break it with new products. I'm sure, Tyler, as you know, it's all about credibility. And
yeah,
you
well,
know,
and that's why that transparency thing is important to me. Listen, I have people laugh at me. I have people call me all kinds of things, whatever. I can't drive. You know, I don't care. I'm going to show I am who I am, and I'm not going to hide that. And it's part of how we go out and show how good quality things are, or maybe what things need to be improved. And that's how we learn. You know, somebody that I learn a lot from is Elon Musk. And I love watching some of the things and listening to him. He's very big on failure. He talks about how important failure is in the process. Fail forward. So if you're afraid to fail, you're never going to succeed, is my feeling. So yeah, we're gonna be transparent in what we do, and we'll learn from it, and then we'll come back with something better.
Or in our case, fail 30 feet to the right.
All right, maybe I'm going to do that a little less,
As
because
her tumbling.
So I know we're getting to the halfway point. You've got other things to talk about. I just wanted to hit really quickly, and Fabian, maybe you can once you're not hidden by comments, Fabian, maybe you can comment a little bit on you know, what is it we're doing right now. You know, ideally, we're not going to release the product for production until we're 1,000% satisfied that it's like the best product on the market. We've got, you know, we're going to make another prototype, put it on Bronc Buster, have you test it, give us more feedback, do it again until we get it right. That's why we said fourth quarter, not.
No more rolling feedback, though. Sorry.
No, you may not do that again, please.
Nope.
But
We'll build a
I,
mini one.
yeah, right. I want to just emphasize that, you know, the pre-sales right now is helping us with the ability to make the prototypes and get to the point where we have the production ready unit. We've been able to produce a number of units to test different concepts and get to where we are right now. But obviously, we're not going to start shipping, and we stand behind our products. We're not going to start shipping until they're perfect. But Fabian, why don't you talk a little bit about the promotion we've got going on, when it ends, and you know, why they need to get in now versus waiting farther.
Yeah, so we know we're still in the pre-sale stage. So basically right now what we're offering is 12 months, 0% APR until May 19th. So if you guys
So that's the same as cash.
You got a
other people's money
paid off.
And when you use the discount code Bronc Buster, you get a really awesome Bronc Lasso recovery kit. So
yeah,
definitely want to take advantage of both of those two, because they are going to be good through the 19th, right, guys? Is that
19th?
So 3 more days.
3 more days. 3 more days. So
I just on the website, build out your hardtop.
I wanted to emphasize that because, I mean, I'll tell you, I've been involved in a number of companies that have tried the concept of discount codes and everything else. We specifically priced this product to be as low as possible, to where we're not going to be offering discount codes really to anybody. Our goal is to create a quality product, have it priced right the first time. We're not like a car dealership where we're pulling the chains and making, you know, gazillions on these. We're not. The price of aluminum is stupid expensive.
I've seen the process, so yeah.
The price of aluminum is stupid expensive. There's a lot of man hours that go into making these tops. They are not easy to make and have them come out as cleanly welded and angles as perfect as they are. So I just wanted to emphasize that, because we've had a lot of people that are like, oh, well, I'll just wait for a sale. This is the sale. The 12-month 0% interest financing is the best you're going to get, probably, other than like the Bronc Lassos or a couple accessories thrown in, or maybe free shipping here or there. That might be something we can do in the future, but the reality is we're not going to be offering a discount, because we wanted to make sure we did it right. We did it for the right price, and you know, we're a small company, so we're not trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. We want to move volume, not anything else. And we've had people be like, oh, well, the competitor's cheaper. And we actually went and did a price test. The competitor for our raw aluminum version with the same, you know, rear defroster, windshield wiper, and insulation is maybe $400 cheaper than we are. But I guarantee you we've got a much higher quality product. Like, we take pride in the quality of our product. We don't look factory. We made it right. It's much stronger, made of a stronger material. And that's really what we're focused on. Yeah.
You have a lot more options that you can do with this, and it's pretty dang tough. It's Bronc Buster tested. So
I was going to say, do we get the Bronc Buster seal of approval? Did we earn it?
I'm going to get the seals coming, and we're going to put it in the back window.
There you
One
go.
more roll.
Well, thank you guys again. You know, if you want to get in on this deal through the 19th, don't miss out on it. Free. I mean, 0% APR and getting the Bronc Lasso kit. You can't beat that. So jump in. And so with that, we're going to let these guys go because we have another exciting thing that I want to talk about, and that is portal axle. So you guys want to stay on, you can, or we'll let you go. It's up to you.
I got dinner waiting, so peace out.
All right. Well, then you got to be removed first.
You guys enjoy.
Guys. All right. So our next big subject that everybody wants to know about is portals. And we've been working on this for quite some time. We have a few things that I put together, and Justin's going to pop those up that kind of give some facts about what they are, what they look like. I'm going to talk about why portals and what the problems portals solve. So if you don't know, we have partnered up with Tibus. Tibus is a German manufacturer of the portals. They actually were the first to develop and bring to market the bolt-on portals back in 2006. Portals are the only real sensible way to lift the Bronco to gain more ground clearance, right? Especially on an IFS vehicle. That's an important thing to note. Titus is now making the third generation of portals, while the imitators are still copying the flawed first generation.
And this is an important point. We're going to go over this more than once because there's a couple other portals out there, and it's a huge difference between the gearing that used to be and the gearing that is now. There's a huge difference.
Right. So the Tibus portal gears are their quiet running and very strong helical cut gears, as opposed to the earlier portals with the 4 straight cut gears that were weaker and run louder, especially on vehicles with independent front suspension. Now, this important thing, Europeans, they think differently than Americans, right? And they have a lot stricter standards when it comes to, they have the TUB, and they're held to this standard that sometimes when I started learning about it, it was kind of incomprehensible to me. So
the TUB regulates cars and
kind of like DOT.
Yeah, but it's really strict.
It's really strict.
Super strict.
You can't even put an aftermarket bumper on on your Bronco if you lived in Europe. You can't.
Way stricter than USA.
If it comes, anyways, it's crazy, some of the regulations, and so they have to follow certain things, and roadworthiness and everything working, like your sensors and ABS and all that, is super important. Let's see. So one of the things is on these is basically it becomes your lift. You get 5 inches and the gear ratio is a 1.22 to 1. So about a 22% gear reduction. The best way to put it, and I think I have it in a later clip, but I'll talk about it now anyways, is you're gonna be able to go to 40-inch tires, up to 40-inch tires, and be geared slightly, ever so slightly lower than you were at stock with 35s. So that's pretty amazing. And 5 inches of clearance is because clearance is really what it's about. I mean, yeah, you want to fit the bigger tires, but the bigger tire isn't because it's cool. I mean, yeah, it is, but there's more than just that. You go bigger tires so you get more height. But for every, let's say a difference between a 35 and a 40, if it's a true 35 and a true 40, that's 5 inches. Well, you cut that in half, you're only gaining 2.5 inches when you put a 40-inch tire from a 35. Whereas this, you're gaining 5 inches of lift and true lift because your differential is going up 5 inches.
And from what we've seen working with Tibus, I'm going to do the true measurement once we get it on. I think it's going to be more like 5.4, 5.5 inches. I think it's going to be that much.
Right. So with that, I mean, these portals, the housings are machined from 7075 T6 aluminum, which is the strongest aluminum available today. I mean, this is aircraft grade aluminum. So quality is very important to these guys. Wheel bearings are from a 7.5 ton truck, and therefore significantly more stable than the competitors' bearings. In the current generation, the bearings of the inner gears are also significantly larger and more stable than the previous generation that's been copied by competitors. The rear drive shafts are built as full floater shafts from 300M material. So the axle and steering geometry is retained so that no changes need to be made. So that's an important thing. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've gotten sick of fixing CV axles. It doesn't mean it's unbreakable, because you still have, if you get bouncing and wheel speed, but it does mean you're significantly reducing the stress on a front IFS of a vehicle. So Bronc Buster going to get all that lift plus portals and Tundra tires. Hey, let's do it. I like it. Maybe I'll go 46s or something. I don't know.
I'll be the only one that can climb into it.
And yes, 300M is killer material. I mean, guys, the thing to know is these guys are not new to the game. Being the first, they know what they're doing and what they're talking about. And that's what was important to us on that.
And their focus on precision, the German focus on precision. I mean, it's in a lot of other cars that have German origin, but it's just amazing looking at Tibus and then looking at some of the other products that are out there. It's a world of difference.
Right. So that's an important part. And I am going to touch a little bit in this too, but ability to daily drive is huge. Yeah. Not too many people are willing to take, like I've done with Bronc Buster, and make it a trail rig only. And that's what that's what Tibus is well known for, because it's unheard of in Germany to have a off-road only vehicle. And so, yes, it's very much still a daily, because when you go to that bigger tire size, with that gear reduction, you are going to go to a slight higher RPM, but it's still going to be within range that's perfectly acceptable and takes strain and off of the drive.
Way better power off-road. And then there was a question about maintenance, and it's really about the oil and the gears.
Oh yeah. I mean, there is maintenance, but it's very minimal,
minor.
And we'll have all of that information in the stuff that's provided with it. And in fact, actually, I'll touch on that a little later.
Where's the line start, Terry? Right here behind me.
So I've got 4 sets coming that will be going on 4 Broncos for install. They provided us with all of the information to install them. But an important part of this is that, yes, I can sell these to whoever wants to install them themselves, but it's going to be to maintain warranty. I'm going to be putting together a dealer network across country of certified installation. It's not a huge project, but it's a couple of day project. It's a pretty big project, and it needs to be done right in order for them to warranty it. And so that's a big part.
It's not rocket science, but there's a process.
So with that, bringing it back around, I have a little bit to do before we are bringing them to you guys, but we still say in second to third quarter, sometime second quarter, for sure third quarter, we'll be able to start releasing them. So
yep.
Let's see. Practice on an OE rides. Okay, so that is hey, Jessica, I appreciate those questions, because that's part of this. So we're going to go to the next page. So all Bronco and Jeep electronic systems integrate seamlessly with the Tibus portal. That's an important part, because you don't want the dash lighting up. You don't want all that. So with what Jessica just asked, keep your stock suspension and ride quality. So, I mean, a lot of us are saying, all right, I want to put a lift on. I want to put big tires. Well, or do that, we got to pull all that suspension off. You got to pull, what is a nice ride quality, to sacrifice a little bit to get those bigger tires. Whether you're putting a puck lift, whether you're putting some coilovers, whatever. A lot of times you're going to do that with a little sacrifice on ride quality. And this is allowing you to completely maintain ride quality and eliminate all that expensive cost of suspension, and suspension leads to all these other things. So you're going to have, reduce the stress on the drivetrain. So longevity of the vehicle. And an important thing that I thought of as I'm going through this, and I've been underneath a lot of Broncos, including my own, and I've been underneath a lot that are 35 to 37 inch tire. So a lot less ground clearance. And one of the things that we're finding is a lot of frame damage. And yes, they're considering it frame damage. Whenever those cross members are hit, and some of those are non-replaceable, you can't buy those without replacing the whole frame, then auction houses are considering this frame damage, therefore highly depreciating the value. Now, of course, we've addressed a lot of that with Talon's Garage with Sean and Crystal over there.
Great design.
Great designs. But the more we can maintain up so we're not hitting those rocks, the less chance we have of doing damage. So, I think you got to look at not just the cost, but the cost savings long-term in reduce stress on drivetrain and reduce damage.
And retain the reason that you fell in love with your Bronco in the first place, which is a lot of you said, it's a daily driver for the most part, and it's an off-road machine on the weekends kind of deal. And so you don't screw with the ride by lifting suspensions, etc.
So, Rob, that's a very good question, because they've developed it, and they were actually the first to get the Bronco to communicate with the computer and the ABS. So this will be 100% plug and play. The wheel speed sensors will plug in and will receive and report data that is back to the computer with no problems whatsoever. That is part of our promise on that. Yep. Have to gear to a higher ratio to make up for the gear reduction in portals. What is the gear reduction in the portals? So the gear reduction is a 1.22, so a 0.22%. The best way to, if you kind of want to know where you would be at based on your tire size and where you want to be, there's some great websites like tiresize.com/gear-ratio.calculator. And you put that in. Hopefully I went to that page. You guys can still see me, but actually, you know what? I'm going to share this page because this is a good way to show you guys how you can do this. So let's see. I got to present my page here. Share screen, gear ratio calculator. Okay. So right here, you can see if you started with a 35-inch tire and you're running the stock gear ratio at 4.7, then and you hit calculate, and you want to go to a 40-inch tire, okay, then you calculate your effective gear ratio goes to a 4.11. So it brought it from a 4.7 all the way down to a 4.11. So now you need the new ratio needed is a 5.37. So you do the math. If you take 4.11 and I don't have a calculator here, you multiply it by 1.22 because that's the effective ratio that we're changing it to, then it's going to put it about, I think if I remember right, because I did this earlier.
It was 4.11 times what?
1.22. It's going to put you at about a 5.01. So slightly above or slightly lower geared than you were stock with 35-inch tires. If that helps you to kind of understand what that looks like. So let's see. No, Jake has not had no, actually nobody has portals other than a very small amount that I know of right now.
Well, as far as I know, Tybus is the only person who's flashed Ford Broncos successfully from a production standpoint.
Yeah, I think others are working on it, but they have it completely working. So
yeah, I think there's some that have been jimmy rigged for some things, but
right, it's coming close. But
they're coming close. But Tybus is the first one that has production ready.
No, ForeScan will not need to be updated because it will plug and play your gear ratio. I mean, I guess take that back. There may be some depending on what size tire you go to, because if you go from a 35 to 37. Your effective gear ratio, if you're going with 4.7 gearing and then you go to that, or with the portals, then you may have to actually adjust it slightly in the computer for speedometer. But I need to get one in my hands, which is in the next 4 weeks. We'll have the first 4 sets.
Yeah, these are great questions, and stay tuned because a lot of them, we're gonna catalog these and then be looking to test when we do get these portals and get them on. We're going to be wanting to gathering this information for you and getting it out.
Right. So a couple of things. Your torque curve goes to a slightly lower ratio than stock, like I was just saying. More clearance, like I said earlier, equals less frame damage, meaning your vehicle maintains a much higher resale value. And portals are just cool. I mean, who doesn't want to say, oh yeah, well, I've got portals. What about you? No, it's kind of fun, but portals are a great solution. Here's a picture of them. One question that was brought up to me in a conversation with somebody, and I don't remember who was, and so I'm going to bring it up here. I didn't put it in my slides, but they said, what if you happen to break a gear in a portal? Well, I can tell you from looking at these and talking with them and the research I've done on Tibus, you're going to break something else before you break one of these gears, but anything's possible. And if you're on a trail, you happen to break a gear, the concern that was brought to me is, well, then am I stranded? No. If you see right there, you're gonna pull your wheel off and you see that red plate. That red plate is how you would remove and pull that, pull one of the gears out right there to make it free spinning. So essentially a lot easier than the process of pulling everything apart to pull a CV on the trail, really. So
yep, you go from 4-wheel to 3-wheel.
Anyways, let's see. What other things have I not touched on? All right. The question on all of our lips, what is the neighborhood of cost? Very good question. Unfortunately, a lot of that is dependent on, this will be a product that's dependent on the value of the dollar, because I actually had everything all ready to go for these portals, and I went to pay for this first order of shipment today, and it changed by several $100s per set, just because the value of the dollar decreased that much. Anyways, that's not going to have a lot of relevance on this. We're going to try and keep it a stable price as we can, but it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of mid-20s. We're trying to get it down a little bit lower, maybe 20,000 for the complete setup. And we'll be able to update you a little bit more once we go through, a couple more things, and maybe next week I can update you on what that price will be. But yes, that's our goal, is to make it affordable. We're going to have, when we do go, so I'll tell you right now that one of the things I'm working on is similar to what we did with Armadillo on the hardtop, is when we do go to pre-sale, we're going to offer a similar upfront 0% financing through a firm for a year. So roughly about a $2,000 a month payment, which is a lot, no doubt about it. But I know from my experience how much I put into all of these different upgrades to run the bigger tires and the damage that happens and different things. So I think that, if I could rewind, that I would have saved a lot of money, in my opinion. But not everybody's it's not a product for everybody, but I think it is a product that solves a lot. How hard to install? The install is about a 2-day process. I think I touched on it a little bit earlier. We're going to, in order for warranty purposes, we're going to have guys set up. Lone Star is actually going to be one of our very first ones that we'll send people to. So at first, it'll be a little bit of a rollout to get it to different shops across the country. We're already reaching out to some of the guys we're working with to see who wants to be first. Lone Star will be first. And we've got one in California that I'm in communication with to try and get one there. I'm working on one East Coast, and we'll just kind of roll them out. But it's going to be a couple of day project. It's not a simple. After you do one, and
we'll give you a full report when we put ours in. We're going to give you a full report on, and probably do a pretty cool video.
Yeah. So Jessica, and I appreciate all your questions. I really do, because this is stuff that I think people want to know, and so it very much helps to explain. So if you look there where that red cap is, that normally, and that red cap would be where your CV axle would come through and your wheel hub would mount on. So think of it as a way to run into it, kind of like bicycle gears, so your drive unit is coming through your CV into that. There's a series of gears, which I'll have in our next one a little better break apart of what it looks like, but there's gears inside of there that gives you the gear reduction. Then it drops down where the wheel mounts on that lower portion. So in essence, it's giving you the lift. So with that drop, it's giving you 5.5 inches of lift, vertical lift, true lift, because now you've got everything clear underneath. And then after that, it's giving you the gear reduction. So hopefully that better explains it. And oh yeah, Walter, Yes, 100%. Because that's one of the things in Europe, they can't even do it without it being legal. And TUB has way higher standards than we have with DOT standards. 100% street legal, 100% roadable daily driver use for sure. That's a big part of it. Oh, all right. A lot of questions, and I appreciate it. This is a huge subject that I've been excited to talk about. Added width, I think we had right here. So there's actually, it adds about 3 inches of width on each side. So it's slightly more than if you're putting a wheel spacer on. But now you don't need a wheel spacer because you're already pushing it out 3 inches, and you can run your stock wheels if you want to, because that already has a +4 offset. It's just going to give it a nice poke in there. Now there are other options. Oh, thank you. Yes, that's a perfect pull apart there for Jessica or anybody else that might want to see it. So you got your shaft coming in up above, drops down through a series of gears, and it comes back out where it hooks to your wheel hub and essentially to your wheel. So this one here is actually a rear axle, because on the rear, it gets pulled apart. You pull the axle shaft out of the rear differential, and we supply a new axle shaft that is all integrated into this. So it's slightly different install on the rear as it is in the front. Let's see. Factory style CV sub. Let's see. Not sure. I'm probably just tired tonight. I'm not understanding that question.
Not
100%.
sure the question.
Sorry. I'll maybe explain a little bit more. Oh, stub. What was the question again?
The factory style CV stub.
Yeah. So in the initial install, because of it has to be such a narrow, they have to keep it within a certain width in Europe. And so being designed for Europe and for the US, the actual CV shaft, the stud gets shaved off about 8 millimeters because it gets brought in a little bit. And so that's something that I'm actually working on. Me and Austin were talking about today that, we're going to see if we can offer something that allows that not to have to be done. But it does. This brings it into a narrower track width than any other portal axles for the Bronco at this time. If that answers your question, hopefully. Let's see. Okay, I think, did we answer everybody? Did I miss anybody? Added width. Okay. Well, so we'll kind of bring it to a close unless there's something else that you guys wanted to know. And we're excited to bring this. Like I said, we're going to have next month, we'll be installing them on a few vehicles, including a collaboration with Matt's Off-Road Recovery. So we're excited about that one. We'll do all the install videos, and Bronco, we're excited to have you guys come and help too. So you'll be part of that. Anyway, so we'll get that put together. We'll have all the videos put together, the install, and hopefully by next week we'll be able to finalize on the price. And we plan on here in the real near future, once we dial in a few more things, being able to take pre-sales for those that want to get in on that 0% and maybe start, I don't know, kind of look at it like putting it on layaway and paying for it to where when it shows up, you've almost got to pay down.
Like Christmas.
Be like Christmas. Here you go, right? So we're working on all of that. Bear with us. Real quick update. We are still working on the differential tube. We're just a few weeks away from having that out, because that's been a big concern of people that are breaking their front differentials. And we're very, very, very close to having the Haas 3.0 as a product on our website that we will be able to have, that can be sent out with the ProCal tool, flashed, ready to go, and give you that additional steering option. So 4, actually, no, I don't even know how many now, but 4 big projects right now that we just mentioned that we're excited that we're bringing to you guys. So stay tuned. We love all the enthusiasm and excitement of you guys. The questions are great because these questions are what help us to be able to better understand what you're looking for and get that to you. So with that, we're going to go ahead and bring it to a close.
Excellent.
Doug, thank you. Again, thank you to Armadillo Designs and Texas Fabco tonight for coming on. And we will see you next week. Oh, before I leave though, I'm gonna have a pretty fun video hopefully by next week. So Doug and I have a fun project to go with Bronc Buster.
Oh,
I'm gonna leave it at that. Let's just say that there might be a house coming down. I don't know. Anyways,
I'm bringing my running shoes.
Okay, we'll leave it with you guys. Let's see, what's that? 3.0 retail. Oh yes, 3.0 retail with all the Bronc Buster parts. So Bronc busted, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.